Hello.
Welcome back to another episode of Two Drunk Guys and a Football Podcast. I'm your host, Skinny Domestic.
And Marcus the Hammer Mary, who just spilled a little bit of beer.
Overflow. Well, if you tuned in to last week, we did the breakdown of the NFC and team divisional winners, some standout breakout players, whatever you wanted to call it. This week we're going to do the AFC and same thing, standout breakout players. Of course, we have news, which this is the best time for news because people are getting cut. You got to hit that 53, go from 90 to 53 by the end. I think the end of this week, Sunday. I think it's Sunday is like the official day. Start off, we are a football podcast. We have not covered like anything other than NFL football, but there was college football. Week 1 of college football is here. We had some games last week. Unfortunately, had some things that didn't allow me to watch the games or really look at them. I caught the last 3 minutes of the Notre Dame game, and I know you don't watch college football at all. So
I do know they played in Ireland, though, right? That's what someone told me. Notre Dame versus was it Navy or Army? They told me they played in Ireland, so you can fact check me on that.
I'll have to fact check because I have no idea. But Notre Dame. I'll put on the game at 3 minutes left, and they're up 42-0. And Navy kicks a pity. It's 4th and goal, and they kick a pity field goal instead of just trying to go for it. You're down 42-0. Just try to get the touchdown. No one gives a shit about the 3 points. And then number 6 USC played San Jose State, beat them 56-28. Caleb Williams, looking like that number 1 overall pick, Heisman candidate, had 278 with 4 touchdowns.
Tank for Caleb.
The cards for sure, dude. The cards for sure. Tanking for Caleb. We'll go into that a little bit here with the news, and then Thursday there's a game this week. So the day that this podcast is released, number 14 Utah plays Florida, which back in the day I would have been like, oh, that, a couple of years ago, it could be a decent game, but I don't know how Florida's organization is gonna do. They've not been good the last couple of years. And then for the in-house stuff, we got Iowa playing Utah State, number 25 Iowa. They're ranked, all right.
Yeah.
And then the good old Iowa State playing UNI game for the first game of the year. So
that's always kind of a competitive.
It is. It always is. UNI always comes in and holds their own at least, or sometimes upsets and wins. I don't expect a whole lot from Iowa State this year. So over under, I think is 4.5 now. So for games, I'm taking the under.
Really?
Yeah. Oh gosh, dude, the sports gambling stuff is really messing with some of those starters. So
yeah,
I just don't see it going well. But in terms of college football, yeah, I mean, it's back. I'll get to enjoy all these ranked teams smacking the living shit out of unranked teams that are barely any D1, mid to below tier D1 schools, I guess.
I'm gonna try and get into it this year. We'll see. It's just
Marcus is gonna go be like, I'm a Morgan State fan or some shit. Even though they just got their ass kicked by number 4 Kansas State or something. What do you got for news?
First thing in news, Josh Jacobs, the man got paid. So draft you some Josh Jacobs.
What was it? 13
mil? 1 year, 12 mil.
12 mil? But he can get 13?
I think maybe. I don't have that information, but we're going to say sure. But good news for Josh Jacobs. It was a smart move because he's only 25 years old. I wouldn't want to go in there not making any of that money on his rookie deal. So take the 12 mil. Next year,
and be an actual free agent. That's a big thing. Because if you get franchise tagged, I think you're not. If you get franchise tagged, you're not with them at least. They wouldn't be free. Like Jonathan Taylor, him, and who's the other one?
Barkley.
They get franchise tagged. They can get franchise tagged again, and So become a free agent.
Yeah.
Show you don't have to put up he doesn't have to put up the same type of season he did, but you still got to be able to show out. And I still think that offense is going to be heavily running offense so definitely get the money, become a free agent.
I think that offense will have fantasy value. I do. People may not think that because they think Jimmy GQ is such a big or not as good as Derek Carr, but I think that to me, I think they're about, Derek Carr's a little bit better, but I think that the offense will run fine through Jimmy GQ. I think Josh Jacobs will be fine. The only thing that worries me in fantasy about Josh Jacobs is that if he gets hurt a little bit, he's not going to play through that because he wants to make his
Oh
money.
yeah.
So
Well, the other one too is um, Devontae's clear cut number one. There's not a clear cut number two anymore.
I
You
think it'll
know,
be Jacoby.
yeah, Jacoby, dude, I like Jacoby. He was good with the Pats. He was Mister Consistent.
Yeah.
Um, I think Hunter Renfrow is taking a little drop off,
Mm-hmm.
and then they also have who else do they have? I don't remember now, but yeah, I think
Not a lot of guys.
Devontae is definitely going to be be
Oh
the
yeah,
number one. But like I've always said, Jimmy G is not a passer, so
we'll see. We'll
it's
see.
it's it's going to be interesting.
I think Jimmy G will surprise some people with how well he'll be able to feed Devonte Adams and how well. I mean, even Jacoby Myers, I still think that's maybe a steal at the later end of the draft because he's just such a consistent guy. Maybe if they're really really bad and their defense gives up a lot of points, maybe what's his face too, Hunter Renfro.
Yeah, my dad's keeping him in our league at pick number 9. I think it's way too early.
Who was he?
Jacoby
Oh, I saw
Myers.
that. Yeah, yeah, and then we did ours too. I have regrets, but you know what? I'm coming
It's
out
locked
swinging.
in.
It's
It's
locked
locked
in.
in. Locked in. Can't change it. Now you just gotta hope that nobody gets. You know what the funny is if somebody got cut, like one of these players that somebody got just got randomly got cut or something. Like
I would cause fuss in the
I
group
know,
chat if that did
just
happen.
like just for some reason, like Chris Godwin got cut or your Cal, like for whatever. But
Tears their ACL out for the
yeah,
whole season.
yeah.
Oh
Now
god,
now that
man.
they're locked in,
Um,
um, so uh, on the kicker status, Chargers. Um, they traded Hopkins away, and now we got Dicker the kicker officially in the Chargers again.
nice.
Dicker the kicker.
Dicker the kicker. Um, Trey Lance traded to the Cowboys for a fourth round pick. So okay, I had a huge debate with Bo about this because he was like, "Oh, Trey Lance isn't good." Like we talked about it quite a bit
Yeah.
actually today. And I don't know how good Trey Lance is. The 49ers didn't give him a lot of time to develop and he was injured. And we've only seen 2 full games of Trey Lance. And I think if you're looking at that 49ers team, I think a player like Brock Purdy can go in there and fit the Jimmy GQ role where he just
Oh yeah.
runs the offense as a game manager and stuff like that. I think someone like Trey Lance needs to be saddled down and like actually like work with them. It's a developmental quarterback like
Well,
what Josh Allen was.
yeah. The other one too is there was that stat. Geno Smith last year had more pass attempts than what Trey Lance has had since middle school or something like that.
Oh
Like
yeah,
that's crazy. Um, One going to the Cowboys, kind of a shocker, just because they have Dak, kind of, and they've had like Cooper Rush and like those guys that have come in and
played well.
played well. So it's just very weird that out of all of a sudden Trey Lance comes into play. Um, I'm, I think if Dak doesn't perform this year, maybe it's a move for Jerry to make Dak stop being a playoff loser and put a little pressure on him with
Mm-hmm.
Trey Lance. I think even though he hasn't shown a lot or we haven't seen a lot of him, he's still more of a talent than Cooper Rush or those other guys. So puts pressure on Dak to actually perform. And then for a fourth round pick, I mean, he was a
So
third over.
cheap,
Yeah, so cheap.
so
Yeah.
cheap. That's why I was like, it's almost free because like you can find players like I think Stephon Diggs was like a 6th round pick or a 5th round pick, and obviously Tom Brady was a 6th round pick.
AB was a 6.
Yeah,
Jason Kelsey was a
there
like you could find
you
talent
can
in the
find
four,
it,
but
but we're talking about anomalies in that round. The majority of players are in and out of the league in that position. Especially once you get out of the second, third round, a lot of those players don't pan out. It's not anything wrong with that at all, but I think it was a cheap move, and I think it was a good move on the Cowboys' part because Dak has struggled during training camp, and he hasn't been that good for the last couple of years, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, yeah, like at one point he was leading the league in
Interceptions.
but he was leading the league in like passing and all that before he got hurt. But he was losing all those, he was losing the game. So
you're talking about like 3 years ago.
Like 2 or 3 years ago when he got hurt. Yeah. Of course you're gonna have great stats because you're playing from behind all the time. You're gonna have a lot more yards than everybody else typically. Yeah, it was interesting. Dak didn't know about it, so there.
He was pissed, or he was like a little bit salty about it. Here's the thing: I don't think that Dak should be that threatened by that. It's such low draft capital. Could Trey Lance develop into something? Yeah. And I'm not that big of a fan of Dak either, though, to be honest.
Only Cowboys fans are.
Even Cowboys fans aren't really. But.
Next thing is the Cardinals, dude. The Cardinals are seriously, they're tanking for Caleb Williams without tanking for Caleb Williams.
100% they are. 100% they are.
They trade Isaiah Simmons for a 7th-round draft pick, which is nothing. Like, Isaiah Simmons has been a good linebacker safety hybrid.
It pisses me off. Why don't the Vikings get on these players?
Yeah, exactly. You're like thinking like, why is my team not trying to get into like for a 7th-round pick to get Isaiah Simmons who could play at both spots or just
Same thing once we traded for TJ. TJ now wants a contract too.
Yeah, I saw that. And they're trying to work with JJ's contract early now too, even though he can wait another year.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. But back to the Cardinals, sorry.
Yeah, they're Isaiah Simmons, K1's on PUP, so
he's gonna get traded next. I'll guarantee it. They tried to trade him at the draft.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt to see him be traded. And they're like, I want the competitive advantage, so I'm not naming a starter yet either between Josh Dobbs and whoever they have at the other quarterback spot.
Colt McCoy?
No, they released him.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
But they released him. I don't know who the other guy
Weird move.
Yeah.
Weird move. I thought Colt McCoy. I mean, if you're tanking, I guess you're tanking. Colt McCoy is.
I mean, guess what? Who's next? James Conner is like, like, what are they doing? Like, they drafted they traded a tackle that started, about half the games for him last year, for a 5th-rounder. So, like, offensive line are hard to come by. So I feel like you need to keep your offensive line assets as best as possible, even if they're average or so, But it's so weird that how hard they're truly tanking, and it's like you're tanking for all these picks, and you think Caleb Williams is going to come in and just instantly start winning games with ass.
Yeah,
he needs a defense.
Yeah,
you need it. You need a defense. You need an offensive line. You need receivers. You think you're going to go get a 7th-round a good guy in the 7th round? You're hoping for a 7th-round pick now to come in and help Caleb Williams turn that franchise around. Not gonna happen.
I don't know why they're not trying to get higher picks out of these players. If you're gonna trade away your team, go out and get high pick. Like, you can't tell me that there wasn't a team that would have been like, okay, Isaiah Simmons, a former, I believe he was a 1st-round pick. You can't tell me there was not one team in the NFL that would have given them, at minimum, a 3rd-round pick for Isaiah Simmons. And maybe there wasn't, but I don't know. For a versatile guy like that can play a lot of different positions, and
it's not like he had it down. I think he's been injured a little bit, but he hasn't like dropped off.
No. Steal for the Giants.
Oh yeah, that makes me hate playing the Giants just a little bit more.
Oh yeah. I mean, dude plays linebacker and corner, like
safety,
corner
and safety.
I know, and safety. Like, linebacker and corner is crazier than linebacker and safety. Like, he played like 49% of his snaps at corner like 2 years ago, and then last year was like 39% of his snaps at linebacker. That's insane.
Yeah, just anywhere. Like, it'll be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing, talking about teams making some weird moves. The Patriots. They released Bailey Zappi and Malik Cunningham. You want to know their only quarterback on their roster right now?
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones. They don't have a backup quarterback.
That is odd. Malik Cunningham, really?
Yeah.
He played really well. You know what?
They'll sign him to the practice squad, guarantee it, 100%. Yeah. But
something might grab him.
What are they doing at quarterback? Is is this them saying, we just talked about K1. I know it's not a Bill Belichick move, but are they going to go trade for K1 to have two quarterbacks? I don't know.
I mean, this is Mac Jones' final year to prove himself.
Yeah.
You get about 3 as a starter, and then they're
Use the first 4 games while K1's on PUP, and then
bold move, bold prediction. Brady's coming back.
No, he's not.
Brady's coming back.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
The what is it? The 49ers thing that now that he's like a minority owner or whatever, it's like,
oh yeah,
Brady's in the locker room, Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold get hurt or like they're 0-4 or whatever, and Tom Brady week 5 sneaking in to come be quarterback. Yeah, it was just a weird move by the Pats. Just you have no backup quarterbacks. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll see what happens.
I thought Malik Cunningham played really well.
I thought he
very versatile.
I thought he deserved an actual roster spot, but I don't know.
Who knows?
Next, Ryan Jensen on IR, missing another season. Bucks center. Mm-hmm. He opted to not have surgery last year and go the stem cell route with taking cells from, I think it was pregnant ladies' umbilical cords, and he took cells from that to put in his knee to repair his knee instead of getting surgery, and his knee's hurt again.
Sounds like some weird Peyton Manning stuff.
Yeah, should have just got the surgery.
Yeah,
and he would have been most likely fine for the season. So Bucks their peak offensive line's already going to shit. So we'll see what happens with everybody else now.
Not good news for Rachaad White
or Baker. You got any? I got more, but
Corey Davis retiring.
Shocker.
Yeah, I think he leads the whole college football with the most receiving yards or receptions or something.
Wouldn't doubt it. The dude was a crazy stud in college.
Didn't really have that crazy of an NFL season. Had a good season with the Titans one year, surprisingly, with AJ Brown.
Now the Jets need to go sign Julio.
I don't know.
They don't have a deep wide. They only have 5 wide receivers now. They don't have a deep wide receiver room anymore.
I don't know if they will. I don't know what they'll do.
Julio was probably Julio, and I think there was somebody else above him. Were the next 2 best wide receivers still.
Jordy Nelson comes out of retirement. Donald Driver,
Greg
Jennings. Anyone? I think Greg hates Aaron Rodgers. So I don't think he would.
Just a good old Packers reunion.
Yeah. Also, JT on the pup for 4 weeks. I wonder why.
Yeah.
I would avoid JT in fantasy.
It'll be interesting to see what his draft stock looks. I might have to do a couple mock drafts now before this up. Clearly it's going to be different coming up, but I want to do a couple. I might have to do a couple mock drafts just to kind of see where people are taking JT now.
I've been avoiding him.
Skyler sent me a team that he drafted last night, and he took him, and I looked at it. He's like, "Oh, I think my wide receivers are." We're going to be my weakest link. I looked at it. I was like, you drafted JT. That's your weakest link. I don't care about anything else.
So I actually helped Alonzo yesterday do a draft with his work. 14-team league. You know how hard that was?
Oh, my goodness.
So many players off the board. He had the second pick, and then I let him pick. He took CMC, which was it's fine. I would have probably taken.
Who do you get coming back around?
Who did we get? I think it was CMC. Then I think we wanted Chris Olave so bad, and he almost fell there. Yeah. He took Jalen Waddle next.
See, dude, that 14-round team, you're looking at you want to be you want to be picks 5 to 8 right there. If you're picks 5 to 8, I think you're perfectly set.
So I'm gonna announce it right now. So
okay.
I am officially taking the first overall pick in your league.
Yeah? Who are you taking?
You know what? I don't need to tell anyone. If you've been watching the podcast, you should know. Hassan Eckler, number 1 overall.
All right. Okay. All right. I bet. For Iowa fans, Desmond King got cut by the Texans. Unfortunately, he was a DB.
It's because Cam Dantzler's been doing so good.
Yeah. If you're getting cut by the Texans, you might want to reevaluate a little bit. They also released one of their linebackers too, which I thought was weird because when you're that bad of a team, you kind of need some decent players on your roster. But I guess they're not what they used to be. Ravens cut Melvin Gordon. Dolphins
Surprise,
released
surprise.
Myles Gaskin. So
I saw that.
Raheem Mostert and who's their other running back?
Jeff Wilson.
Oh, Jeff Wilson. And they have that Ahmed
Yeah,
guy.
I can't think of it. They're really fast guy. That's
Ahmed, Ahmed. But I think they say it like Ahmed. I think it's like
the one that they drafted this year is who you're talking about, right?
no. The dude they've had him for like the last couple of years.
Oh no, they got another guy they drafted. They drafted a running back.
Yeah, so I guess he would have been running back number 5. So
yeah, you can't have 5 running backs.
No, and they couldn't get Dalvin. So RJT, I guess either. Albert O to the Eagles. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan. Albert was supposed to have a good season last year, but didn't really do anything. I mean,
he's fast.
Yeah.
So
well,
it'll be good depth behind
Goddard.
Yeah.
That high-powered offense. Last 2 things. I thought this was just hysterical. So the Browns wished Michael Dunn, one of their former offensive linemen, a happy birthday. And then, so like their marketing team wished him a happy birthday. And then 2 hours, they released him.
That's happened before.
I know. It's just so funny to me. Like that's how crazy.
Yeah.
Like that's how your marketing team is doing one thing.
Well, they don't know.
I know, but
happy birthday! You're getting cut today.
Yeah, 2 hours later, you're cut. They literally tweeted your happy birthday, and then 2 hours later, they tweeted that he was cut. So,
good for them.
It's just so funny. And then lastly, for all you wrestling fans out there, I think everybody's probably going to be excited for this. The WWE and NFL are now doing a partnership for NFL legacy belts,
which is cool.
I'm probably going to end up getting one for the Eagles. I think it's going to be badass to have.
It would be cool.
Yeah.
It would be very cool. Yeah, I'd probably get one for the Vikings too. We can find somewhere to throw it up in here.
Oh yeah, look at all that bare wall over there behind you, or this little section right above me, or who
we got
knows?
Plenty of room.
Wear them. Well, maybe not me, but they probably won't fit. All right, so we're gonna move on to the division winners. Go ahead and start. Which division?
AFC North.
All right.
I am taking the easy route, and I'm going Cincinnati Bengals. I thought, I'm high on the Ravens this year. I just think Joe Burrow's the second best quarterback in the league besides Patrick Mahomes, and I think that team's going to be better. It's going to gel. I like the weapons they have on offense. They kept Joe Mixon, and Joe Mixon isn't in any trouble, so that offense should gel really well. That defense was decent last year, so I feel like there's no big changes. And once you have the second best quarterback in the league, you're probably going to win a lot of games. And I think that division is going to be more competitive, but I still think they got in the bag.
Yeah, I went the Bengals too. I have them going 15-2 and winning the whole conference. So
really,
yeah,
they could. I mean, Joe Burrow's the only person that really can.
I have them losing to the Steelers. I literally only have them losing divisional games because that's usually how it goes. Usually I have them losing one to the Ravens and one to the Steelers, and that's it. After that, I have them sweeping the floor with everybody else. Plus, but this year they do play like the Bills. I think they'll beat the Bills. They play the Chiefs. Joe Burrow has Patty Mahomes' number. I'm a little bit down on the Chiefs this year in terms of it's hard to bet against Patty Mahomes. I know it really is. But the big one too is you have to consider their defense. Chris Jones is holding out.
If you tell me right now that you picked the Chargers to win the division over the Chiefs, I'm going to totally laugh at you. I know you did. I can see it in your face.
Hey, I'm just saying Chris Jones is like their guy up front on that line. He's holding out. He made a tweet. Somebody would tweet it at him or something, and he said, I have until week 8 or something, or like week 8. So he may hold out over contract, and that's a big defensive player for him.
He is a big defensive player. It's Patrick freaking Mahomes.
But when you don't have a defense, look at the team. Chargers have a great high-powered offense. Don't have a fucking defense. Kept losing games. When you don't have a defense, you're not going to win.
They said the same thing last year once he did not have a true number one receiver. He's
It's
Patrick
not about
Mahomes.
your offense.
I
It's
know it's
about
not.
your defense.
But here's the thing.
And if you don't have Chris Jones, who is your leader of the
Yeah.
defense, that's going to be a big factor.
Here's the thing. I will not bet against him. I just will never.
All right. But yeah, I have the Bengals also winning
Okay, that's good.
the division, and I have them winning the conference.
Okay. AFC South, I think the Jags are going to take it, and I think they're going to run with it. It's probably the easiest division in the AFC. The Texans still rebuilding. The Titans, that's such a team. You know what I mean?
They're always competitive,
Yeah.
but you never know what you're going to get. Ryan Tannehill's a little bit older, and then if he does get hurt or whatever, the backups aren't really anything special at this point either.
No. And then the Colts. I do like Anthony Richardson coming here because he's an athlete, but I just don't think that they're going to win a lot of games. That's not.
I
a
don't
very
like the
good
receiver
roster.
core. I don't trust him too.
No JT, which JT would have made me feel more comfortable.
I don't trust.
On it.
I don't trust AR throwing the ball a whole lot yet either. I know he looks good in the preseason, but like he played the Eagles second, third. Like Trey Sermon was our starting running back, and we cut him. Like he was playing guys that were fighting for roster spots while their first team offense was out there. I also have the Jags winning. They're the only team I have in that division actually having a winning record.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like they're 12-5. I think 12-5 was reasonable for them this year.
Oh yeah, Trevor Lawrence finally has a number one wide receiver. I think Christian Kirk's a good one, but Calvin Ridley is a stud.
Yeah. Well, that offense is just high powered. Their defense is always nitty gritty in there. And looking at their schedule, they play a lot. I mean, they play a lot of good AFC teams, but they play a lot of that division's so weak. You got 6 games where they could potentially sweep the whole division, which I think I have them doing close to, maybe losing like the Titans once or something. But yeah, the Jags are definitely clear cut on that one.
East. I was bold. I was a little bold. I said the Dolphins over the Jets, which I do like the Jets, over the Patriots, which I think will be competitive, and over the Bills. Here's why. I think Tua had a very decent year last year while he's healthy. If he can stay healthy a full 17 games with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and the speed they have in that backfield, along with picking up who I think is probably, still a top 5 defensive back and, do some key moves on their defense, I think that team's going to be really good.
Well, you have
it's going to be
Jalen
hard
Ramsey,
to stop.
Xavier Howard, and Eli Apple.
Yeah.
So I took an even bolder move.
You took the Jets?
And I have the Jets winning it.
That's fun.
But the thing is I have all 3. I have the Bills, Jets, and Dolphins all finishing 12-5. So the only reason why the Jets win is because they have the tiebreaker over the other teams.
So you think?
I think the Jets, Bills, and Dolphins all finish the season at 12-5.
So you're gonna have them all in the playoffs, probably.
Yeah. And looking at their schedules, literally, I just don't see anything, because I sat down, I did every game. I some of them are clear toss-ups. Like again, the Chiefs, probably the hardest team. Chiefs, Chargers, Eagles, and then their themselves. I mean, after that, their roster, the teams that they play are pretty beatable, I would say. So they all came out 12-5 somehow. I don't know how it happened, but it did. But I have the Jets winning the tiebreaker, and then I do have the Dolphins coming in second. The Bills coming in third this year. So it all really comes down to the tiebreaker at that point. But yeah, watching Hard Knocks made me feel a little bit better.
Hard Knocks it's been fun to watch. Aaron Rodgers gives me such weird vibes.
Yeah.
Because he's not like I've watched a lot of Aaron Rodgers as a Vikings fan. He's trying to be so stoic about everything. Like
Hard Knocks gave me a little bit better, I don't know, more comfortability, because I didn't have the Jets making the playoffs at all. But when you come down to think about it, they were just a quarter, they were like the Bucks a couple of years ago. They were a above average quarterback to great quarterback away from being a playoff team to Super Bowl team, and I think Rodgers does that for them.
Oh
Their
yeah.
defense is very good.
You think if they had Jimmy G last year, they'd be a Super Bowl caliber team?
The Jets, I wouldn't say Super Bowl, but they'd be a playoff team.
Yeah.
So I think with Aaron Rodgers now coming in there, defenses are up. I don't think he's truly dropped off. Last year,
Yeah.
look at his team, but
That Garrett Wilson Rodgers connection is legit. Do you see that preseason catch?
yes,
You know what I like about Garrett Wilson? He rips the ball back. Like, receivers, that's what you're taught, once you catch a pass to like get it out of the way of the DB so they can't get it
yeah.
out. He rips it, man. That dude is quick with it.
Well, then you have Dalvin Cook and Brees Hall now. Good luck. Good
Yeah.
luck.
That team is good.
Yeah. So
Offensive line is the only thing that'll hold that team back.
yeah, and again, their defense has been stellar. Like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Like pretty much every team in that division has a stellar defense.
Yeah.
But I think again, you're not going to be on the giving your defense with Rodgers. You're going to give your team defense a lot more rest, so they're not as tired all the time. Those type of things. So yeah, Jets taking it for me.
AFC West, the Chiefs. Like I said, I'm not going to bet against Patrick Mahomes. I know that the Chris Jones stuff, yeah, that's a big deal. A defensive tackle that's a star defensive tackle that's been, a centerpiece of their defense. That is a big deal, but I won't bet against him. I still think that Rodgers is the best, or not Rodgers, excuse me, Patrick Mahomes is the best player in the whole NFL. I don't care who the Chargers have. I don't care who else is in there, the Raiders, and we're not worried about the Raiders. And who else is in that division besides the
Raiders, Broncos, Chargers.
Broncos? I don't think the Broncos are going to, I think they'll be better.
Yeah.
I just don't think that they're going to be, it's so competitive. I don't think they're a playoff team.
Yeah.
I don't think the Chargers are either.
So I have the Chargers winning the division this year. Again, what's weird is a lot of 12-5 teams for some reason. I literally I made these records solely based off of I did the NFC first. So all the NFC teams that they played, I already had their games decided last week. And then coming into this week it was all AFC stuff. Well, I did this division last on purpose because I was torn between the Chargers and Chiefs. And how it planned out is the Chargers are 12-5, so I have 5 teams going 12-5. But I have them winning the division by 1 game. That offense is very high powered now. I think it's time for the true Justin Herbert big boy talks. I guess he's a great quarterback. Now it's time to win the games.
He got paid real money.
He got paid. He's going to come out and ball out like he has, but I think the big difference is their defense is finally going to be a little bit better. I think Bosa is supposed to be 100% healthy, and he's a large factor on that.
He's not going to fight with the Eagles fans.
No, I hope not. But I think the Chiefs still make the playoffs, but I think it's going to be a little, again, down to earth thing. If Chris Jones doesn't come back, that's a huge hit on their defense. Hard to make up for it. And if you're not getting pressure on the quarterback, big impact in the NFL. So I think the Chargers barely sneak in.
I disagree. So my 3 playoff teams, the Ravens I have as my 5th seed. I'm big on the Ravens this year. I think Lamar is going to ball out. They've actually given him some weapons in the passing games. They got him a new offensive coordinator that likes to throw the ball. I think that defense will be better. A couple years ago, they stole the linebacker from the Bears for
Roquan Smith.
Smith. I think that team is poised to make a splash this year. I don't think they're going to beat the Bengals, but I think they'll be in the playoffs. The Bills, they're still going to be a solid team. I mean, they're going to be my 6th seed, and that's hard to put them in the 6th seed because that's still such a good team. And
oh yeah,
I don't like Josh Allen, but I respect that Josh Allen is good enough to win games, and he has won a lot of games. So Bills Mafia, they'll be fine. They'll still be good. And then the Jets are my 7th seed. I did not put the Chargers in there. I do like the Chargers this year. I think that the AFC is too talented, and I really do think if I had to pick Justin Herbert or Aaron Rodgers,
Oh yeah,
I'm taking Aaron Rodgers, even with all the baggage that he had, or people say he's washed or whatever. The Packers team was terrible last year. Very, very little talent. If you go away from the offensive line and the running backs and Rodgers, that's where the talent kind of stopped. They didn't have good tight ends. The receivers were all young, inexperienced. Their defense, their DBs, they have a couple players here and there for Sean
yeah,
Gary and stuff like
oh
that,
yeah,
but they weren't. It's not what the Jets have. That team is stacked. The only worry I have for those Jets is their offensive line.
oh yeah. So Bengals are 1,
Mm-hmm.
Jags 2, Jets 3, Chargers 4, Dolphins are my 5, Bills are my 6. So we got something in common there, and then the Chiefs come in at 7.
I just don't. I could
Dude,
never see that.
a Jags Chiefs wild card game, Jets Bills Chargers Dolphins. That's prime wild card stuff right there.
It is.
That's
That's
gonna
good
that's
games.
gonna get the NFL money, and it's gonna happen.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. But all right, so moving on to
Breakout players.
breakout, standout, have a good season players. I'll start off. Been high on this guy, Travis Etienne. I think because of how high powered that offense is now. Last year he only started 12 games, had 1,100 yards and only 5 touchdowns. He's going to start every game as long as he's healthy. He's going to hit the 1,300 plus rushing yards. He's going to get 8+ touchdowns. He's going to be, 500 plus receiving yards out of the backfield. Like they're going to throw the ball. They have the receivers to do it, but man, he is going to eat with that offensive.
You think they're going to start using him as a receiver?
Yeah, I think they'll do both. Like, not like maybe line up as a receiver, but he'll get the ball out of the backfield.
Yeah.
Especially with Frank Reich, or not Frank Reich, Doug Peterson.
They didn't know last year.
They'll do it more.
Well, we'll see.
I'll see it happen.
Fantasy, I kind of worry about Tank Bigsby a little bit, but
I'm
like in real life, IRL, I feel like he'll have a decent season.
Oh yeah, I think he'll be a top 10 running back. I think.
My first one is Kenny Pickett. I really, really, really feel like he's going to take the next step at quarterback. He played decent for last year. He's got legitimate weapons on offense.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a big Deontay Johnson supporter. I think he's a steal in drafts right now. He has, we all talk about how crazy it was for Jacoby Myers to not have all those catches and no touchdowns. He literally shattered the record for that last year. I think he'll have touchdown regression, positive touchdown regression. I hope you like that one. And I think that offense will be humming. I like Pat Fryermuth. I like Najee. I think that they address that offensive line. That defense is always good. So,
taking a offensive tackle in the first round,
good move.
Usually is a good pin out move.
And I think he could go 25 touchdowns easily, 3,000 passing yards, and he can do stuff with his feet. So he could add some with his legs as well.
So I also have Kenny Pickett. I'll just get it out of the way. With him I think he has 3,500 passing yards. Things are gonna.
You think he's gonna be fine?
The big thing with me is, even though they did upgrade the line, the running still worries me a little bit. With Najee didn't have a great yards per carry average, so I think they're going to be throwing the ball a lot. They're going to be down in games a lot too. I think, even with a good defense, I just think. They play a lot of good teams.
They do.
So, their record's not going to be pretty. I think it's going to be the first time that Mike Tomlin has a losing record.
Really? I was going to ask you, is he having a losing record?
Yeah, I think they'll have a losing record this year for the first time ever. But Kenny Pickett's going to take that second year step. And especially with those weapons. So I'm going 3,500, 25 touchdowns.
So you're going to do the fake slide down to the running touchdown like he did in college?
Can't do that.
You can't do that anymore?
You can't do the fake slide.
Oh, really? He did in college. It was kind of dope.
Well, he did it, and then they made it illegal. Like, if you're going down, you're going down.
Really? That was dirty, though. That was a dirty play.
It really was.
That was
and everybody,
awesome.
Literally, whenever you talk about Kenny Pickett,
That's
And
what
it's
you
funny,
think.
like 2 days ago, I was on Twitter. It was like, remember this golden time when Kenny Pickett did the fake slide? Like,
It was
just
awesome,
yeah, it
dude.
really was. Like,
That was big
and
news.
the fact that you could get your body to like go down like that and then just pop right up. Like baseball players do it, but they hit the base. That allows. He did it and didn't have anything to stop him. But yeah, it was they. At least it's illegal in college football, or not illegal, but like, you can't do it because they don't want defensive players to think like give up on the play because you're going down,
Mhm.
but then you fake out and now they can hit.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a competitive advantage that's not fair, which I understand. I don't know about the NFL. I know college football. They don't allow if you're going down. If you start a slide, they'll consider it a slide, even if you fake it. Now
hmm
they'll call you down.
Um, my next one, my next two are pending health, but I said in the off season, I got a little worried about him. He's dropped an ADP for fantasy because people are worried about it. If this man could just stay healthy, he would be such a monster in the NFL, and that's Kadarius Toney.
Oh yeah,
I just need him to stay healthy for, if he could stay healthy for 14 games, we could really break out the potential of Kadarius Toney being the number one receiver on a Patrick Mahomes offense. The skill set that he brings, how versatile he is. I mean, he's literally, to me, he reminds me so much of Percy Harvin.
oh yeah, yeah.
So much of Percy Harvin. And I loved watching Percy Harvin.
We expected so much of him when he got traded, and then he still just
Yeah, he had an okay stretch.
yeah, but just just very undermining. Um, and there's not a lot of competition on that team
No,
anyway.
there
At
isn't.
receiver, you
Sky
have
Moore, I
Travis.
like Sky Moore,
Yeah,
but
you have
I
Travis
mean,
Kelsey. Travis
yeah.
Kelsey's the biggest guy,
But
but
out of all those wide receivers, he is the most talented.
oh
And
yeah,
it's not
he's
close.
he's gotta he's gotta one stay healthy and two mentally put himself as I'm the best wide receiver on this team,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to be treated and deserve to be the best wide receiver
Yeah.
on this team.
If he stays healthy, I could see him have 1,000 yards easily. You know, and then I don't know about touchdowns. Maybe 5 plus, maybe 10 plus. I don't know how good he is because we have not unlocked the potential of Kadarius Toney. Same thing with Trey Lance. We don't know what he is
Yeah.
because we haven't seen a
Well,
ton.
you have to think Andy Reid offense. There's a lot of sweeps,
Oh yeah.
runs. He can be utilized in all those different
Mm-hmm.
areas. They're literally just trying to fill the role of Tyreek Hill, and every person that they've gotten so far to fill that role has not come even close to the standards. Hardman was supposed to do it.
Yeah.
Sky Moore, they were like, oh, he's supposed to do it, but Sky Moore was a rookie last year.
Marquez Valdez Scantling.
Scantling, he didn't really do it. They got now they have, and then they have him who it's like we need you to fill that. Like just somebody needs to fill. You don't have to put up the 1,500 plus receiving yards. Get 1,000. You're filling the role.
Trade for Debo. That's what I want to see. Debo
oh
on
my
the.
goodness.
That would be scary.
So my next guy, I'm just gonna go to the next chief. I'm gonna go Sky Moore. Somebody has to take over that wide receiver room, and
Yeah.
even if he goes for 1,000 yards, I still have Sky Moore going for over 800. Tony's always questionable unless because he's not healthy. Juju's gone. Sky Moore's got to step up. 800 yards, 6 touchdowns. I think he didn't even have over 300 last year.
So you think he's gonna more take what Juju did last year?
Yeah, I think he's going to fill that like number two. May not be the number one, but he'll be a good number two.
Yeah.
But even then, again, Tony's got to stay healthy and if Tony's not healthy, I think you can expect more from Sky Moore.
They also have what was that one wide receiver that they got who was really highly touted? Ross from Clemson.
Justin Ross. John Ross's brother. I think he's very good. He made the cut today, made the final cut on the roster. I think he's good.
He could be a sleepy fantasy.
He'll be a wide receiver 3 to start, and I think he'll, depending on Tony's situation, he might be able to sneak in and go for 500 plus. They're gonna throw the ball. They're gonna throw the shit out of the ball. So
it's not like they're gonna take it and run the shit out of Isaiah Pacheco. So
and Jerick McKinnon.
Yeah.
My
next one, and I wrote this. I know it happened. Jerry Jeudy. He's gonna miss some games, so we don't know what's gonna happen. If Jerry Jeudy could just stay healthy, same thing like Kadarius Toney, where it's like he has been more healthy, but he goes back and forth, and he has a drop, concentration drops that he shouldn't have. He's too talented to have them. If he could just get his shit together, Jerry Jeudy would be top 10 wide receiver in the league right
Well, and
now.
he'd be the number one on that team. Cortland Sutton,
Yeah,
man, I feel like Cortland Sutton's just like, I'm really waiting for somebody to come dethrone me as the number one guy on this team.
yeah.
He's a little bit older, but man, he's just the thing is Cortland Sutton's just consistent. The man will catch the ball and will get yards. Like he may not be as fast as Judy and stuff, but man, yeah, Judy needs to figure it out.
He does. So talented though, and I feel like Sean Payton will take the best out of him
Mm-hmm.
if he can play, enough games to actually make it make sense. I could see Jerry Jeudy having a breakout year. I could see him having 1,300 plus 10 touchdowns. Like he is that good. He's such a good route runner. He was an amazing receiver at Alabama. He showed a lot of potential last year towards the end of the season, and it seems as though Cortland Sutton's the odd man out once it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Well, and then like in that offensive scheme, you could throw Judy in it slot a lot. Like
yeah,
you have Marvin Mims Jr. He's an outside guy. Throw in Jerry Judy at slot sometime. Majority of the time he'll be like CD. He'll thrive in
yeah.
that spot like CD does. CD on the outside, CD in the spot. Give it to me.
Yeah.
My next guy is Kwity Paye, DN for the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
He's had some health issues too, which that's the big thing. Health is really the shitty part on players. Holding them back. Um, I think he hasn't sniffed 10 sacks yet. I think the most he's had is 6. I think he's going to go for 10 plus this year. And he'll have 65 total tackles, which I think the most he's gotten is like 40, 45 in that range. So because of injuries, I think if he stays healthy, the man, I liked him coming out of college. I liked when they drafted him. He's had high expectations, and because of injuries, he hasn't been able to do shit. And I think he'll have a breakout season because the Colts always have like a sneaky good defense. Overlooked defense, I think.
With that, we thought we'd take a little bit of time today to talk about just draft strategy and then also our drafts and what our podcast the overview of what our podcast will look like going forward.
So, number one, fantasy advice: do not draft Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, that's a scary one for me this year. With everything going on with that, realistically, I could see him sitting out the whole year.
Yeah, even after the 6th round, it'd be like a good pickup, but like at the same time, if he sits out, you're so screwed.
Such a high risk, high reward move. I don't take risks like that in fantasy. I'm being a little bit aggressive in Skinny's league this year because I won a ring, but
yeah, I think I'm gonna do some mock drafts to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see where people, because like being on the pup, yeah, I'm missing 4 games, whatever. But a guy that's questionable to play, like Kamara, his value is still where it was, even with him being suspended. He hasn't changed.
It's probably better because he's missing 3 games compared to 6.
Yeah, and his value hasn't changed, but he's going to play.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how this pup impacts him. Also, don't touch K1. He's not going to play. No way.
Probably not. The Cardinals, with everything that they've been doing in the off season, I would not be surprised if by week 8 someone K1's on another team. That would not be a shock to me, just because everything they've done indicated to me that they are tanking for Caleb Williams.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I don't think that that's a shock. They tried to trade K1 to the Titans this year. I don't think a lot of people knew that.
It's going to be a toss up between them and the Bucks for the tank for a quarterback.
Yeah.
But the Bucks have a way more talented team, so
they do.
It's going to be harder unless they truly, absolutely like, I want you to fall down at the goal line, yard short to lose this game, those type of things. I just don't see.
I don't think the Bucks are going to take that hard. You know what? And honestly, people may not see it. The Bucks could be this year's Seattle Seahawks last year.
Oh, definitely.
Baker's still young. He still is. People forget about it. He has had his moments in the NFL. In last year in the Rams, he played pretty decent for the Rams. Will he be better this year? I don't know. I like Baker. I like the attitude. I like the just gritty, tough, like douchebagness of him. But he could suck. It wouldn't
Yeah.
surprise me either way. Whatever way he goes, it's toss up, honestly.
So going back to fantasy, we have both our drafts. We potentially have a third draft that we got invited to.
Yeah, a dynasty actually.
Yeah, it's a dynasty. So
it's fun. We'll have an in-person snake draft, an auction draft,
which
and
is
then
like
a dynasty.
almost in person, even though because majority of those people are probably going to end up coming over, even though it's online.
So it'll be cool.
Yeah, and then we'll have a dynasty. So like, there's gonna be three different. This will be the first year I think we've ever done three different separate, three different types. So
my draft we'll actually have here on the podcast. We'll be bringing in people sporadically through the draft to talk about their picks and have a little bit of fun with that.
I'm gonna shit on them the whole time.
Oh, that's what you got to do. Oh, you paid what for JJ Arcea-Whiteside?
Oh, Jalen Reagor? You took him?
Yeah, you took Jalen Reagor. You wasted it all on Jalen Reagor.
Jalen Reagor. People are asking about trade talks with the Vikings.
Yeah, I did see that,
which is funny to me, but okay.
Former number 1 overall pick.
First round.
Our first round.
Yeah. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, we're gonna do Marcus's. Don't know if we're gonna do like a YouTube live stream yet, just so I don't have to edit the video and all that stuff tonight or whatever for a bonus episode. Because literally it would be edit, upload, and then my draft literally that next day. So I don't know. I don't know what we'll do yet.
See.
Either live streaming on YouTube so our subscribers can see it or anybody can see it. And then how you're doing the draft is definitely fun. Definitely different. No kicker, no defense, double quarterback,
3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, and then 2 flexes.
And then
it's going to be a hard draft.
With it being an auction, you increase the money to $300. You took off the values, so people are going to pay based off of name and
pure capitalism.
Yep.
Whatever you think that player's worth, you will take him. Yep. Now, people have an idea, but
not everybody.
Not everyone will. Not everyone will. So we'll see what these high name, players will go. I predict
Odell's a high name still. I think he'll go way.
I think it's been years.
I know.
It's been years.
No, he's gonna go way more than what people think.
You think
Patty Mahomes, JJ? Like,
here's the thing. I will make my bold prediction right now. Bo Bryles will have Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, or a combination of someone.
He's gonna spend all his money on quarterbacks. I guarantee it. Yeah.
I mean, dude, that's a free 40 points a game, though. Easily 40 points.
Yeah, but also when in a point where you got to spend a lot of money for those like skill player, good skill players. Like I said, JJ is going. In some of these mock drafts I did, he was going for $35 over
what he's actually
he's at. What his value is with the $300, which again you can accustom. Okay, you have an extra $100 to spend technically, but you're also you have to consider you're not paying $1 for a defense or $1 for a kicker, and you're adding 2 draft spots in yours. So you're compared to like normal mocks. So yeah, you have an extra $100, but you also have to spend an extra $5 plus, whatever, in terms of how you're gonna adjust the ADP amount to adding that extra $100 amount. So 3 players went over $100. 2 players in the 90s, a couple players in the 80s. Patty Mahomes was like 45 ADP projection, but he was like $68 or $69 in the league. I did a mock with those settings just to try it to see what would happen in that mock. I ended up getting Patty Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Tyreek Hill, Bijan Robinson. I think I want to say it was Chris Olave. Now that I think about it.
Here's the thing. I most definitely would lead that draft with a team like that and be like, well, whoever's my bench, fuck yourself.
Yeah, I ended up, like I said, leaving the draft because I had no money to spend. I had to wait until the
depth. Yeah, no depth.
No depth. But
he's going to have maybe if he's lucky, he'll have like Donovan Peoples-Jones on his bench and, your tight end will be,
Dalton Kincaid, who is going to share time with Dawson Knox or Hayden Hurst on the Panthers because allegedly he's the Bryce Young's favorite target, but he's still not very valuable.
No.
So literally, I'd just be stuck with dollar players.
Adam Thielen will be your flex.
I wouldn't mind that. Like,
No,
it wouldn't be
I
bad,
like
but like,
yeah.
yeah, dude, I spent so much money
I know.
right off the bat.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun. I'm going to try to stay.
Long.
It'll be a long podcast. It will be a long podcast.
It's gonna take forever.
You know what? Our amount of beers I'm gonna buy probably like 224 packs.
Well, I'm gonna bring beer with me too.
We might.
No, fuck it. I'm not drinking beer. I'm gonna drink fucking liquor. I bought a bottle of tequila.
Okay, how's that gonna count on the podcast though? We go per beer. So what? You know, you can drink tequila,
but it's a bonus episode. So like
that still counts. That still counts.
So does like tequila does like a shot equal one beer, or
a shot equals one beer? So once you make your drinks, make sure you put them with a shot.
So every shot. Okay, so we're doing a shot equals a beer.
Yes. I feel like
that's not fair because I can drink 10 beers and not be drunk. If I have 10 shots, I'm gonna be shit faced.
How about such bullshit?
How about half a shot? So one shot equals 2 beers. I feel like that's fair.
I think we put a poll up somewhere and we ask people what's fair.
How many shots of tequila or whatever equal 1 beer? So then that's fair.
I feel like a shot equals a beer.
No, because 10 beers.
You would be fucked up with 10 beers.
7 beers in an episode, I'm fine. 7 shots in an episode, I'm probably feeling it kind of.
Okay, 1.5. Final offer.
1.5 beer? What?
1 shot equals 1.5 beers. So if you had 7 shots, that would equal. You do the math. So 6 would be
3. So 4, like 3.5, 4.
No, because 2 would be 3. 4 would be 6. 6 would be 8.
Yeah, there you go. So 9.
Yeah, 9.
I feel that seems a little more fair.
Okay, we'll shake on that podcast.
So if I'm doing shots for the bonus episode, shots and beers for the bonus episode, every shot that I take is a beer and a half.
Courtney, he's probably spend the night.
Yeah. She's not like that, but
if you can't drive, you can't drive. But yeah, it'll be a fun draft. I'm excited for it. That is probably the draft that I'm most unconfident with right now because I'm like it's going to be a hard draft
because it's an auction. You have no idea who you're going to actually. You'll be like, yeah, I'm going to spend $100 on this player and get him, but somebody might bet that 101.
What I do for auctions is I put a fab on what I want to spend per position and then adjust during it. Because if I overspend for what I want to spend for quarterbacks, then running backs got to be less. And, you got to kind of do that with auctions.
Yeah. I'm just going to go 3 quarterbacks. I'm drafting 3 quarterbacks no matter what. Even if they're just average quarterbacks, I'm getting 3 quarterbacks because then everybody else can fuck off. And I have 3 quarterbacks for bye week and if somebody gets injured.
Yeah. I'm a big tiers guy. So I like different tiers of players. Like for what I want for an RB1, a wide receiver 1, a quarterback 1, I have a tier of what I will take there. So like my cutoff for wide receiver or quarterback in most drafts, this one it'll be a little bit different because you're going to have 2 quarterbacks. But like Kirk Cousins is my cutoff for who I feel comfortable with.
Quarterback that you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
But you're gonna risk going down to like a. I'm trying to think, maybe like a Brock Purdy or even lower.
That's really low. I don't think that we get to Brock Purdy level, but we might get
20. Well, you have to think 20 starting quarterbacks are going to be 24.
I'm thinking more like we'd get to like a
Brock Purdy,
Jimmy GQ level.
I think Jimmy goes. I think Jimmy's before 24.
You think so? Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. I don't.
Well, you think about it, the rookies, Bryce Young.
I mean, I can tell you right now. I have.
Oh, you have the list. Yeah, let's look top 32 quarter. What are the bottom? Let's say bottom 6 quarterbacks in order.
So bottom
starting at 30. Let's go 32.
So Baker Mayfield.
Yep.
That makes me nervous a little bit. Desmond Ritter. I do like the upside of rushing. Mac Jones.
Hey, he's got no competition now.
He's got no competition, but he hasn't showed me a lot. Sam Howell.
Upside.
Jordan Love. Could have
Upside.
some upside. Brock Purdy.
Upside.
CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
Jimmy G.
What number is he at?
24.
So he literally is at that 24 spot.
Yeah.
See, I thought he would be way higher.
But no, he's at sorry, Ryan Tannehill's at 20. No, yeah, he's at 23.
Who's
Jimmy G? Derek Carr's 22.
Okay.
Kyler Murray 21.
Yeah, that's not updated because you've printed that off.
No, this is updated.
When did you print that off?
This is PPR, but this isn't for 2 quarterback.
When did you print that off?
Today, straight from Mike Clay's.
You seriously printed that off today?
Yes.
And they haven't updated K1 down yet?
Think about it, Skinny. Most people are playing 10 team or 12 team.
I know,
leagues.
but still, he's gonna miss time. Like I would.
He is, but people still put him up that high. People think he's gonna play week 5. He probably won't play the rest of the season.
I'm not gonna say they are the word, but they are not smart.
Yeah.
I wish I could get paid to be wrong.
Jared Goff's 20, which Jared Goff, I like the upside on it. Matthew Stafford, hate it. Kenny Pickett, Russell Wilson, Geno Smith, Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, so like the 2 rookies, Stroud and Bryce Young, I'd probably put down more.
Mm-hmm.
Like even though they're in the late 20s, I don't like that. I'd put it down more. Baker at 32, Baker would be a decent QB3.
It depends on what he does.
Yeah, but at QB3,
I would rather take
at QB3. You're like, oh, I got to play you for 1 game.
Realistically, there are people in my draft that could have Deshaun Watson and Kenny Pickett as their starting quarterback.
Realistically, I could go get Justin Herbert and Patty Mahomes in this draft, but I'm not going to because I know some people are going to overspend on Patty Mahomes.
Here's the thing, though. It's not a bad draft strategy. It's not, though.
No.
Hear me out. Quarterback is probably the hardest position besides tight end, and you need 2 of them. It is. There's only 32 starting
wide
all
your money on
quarterbacks. Yeah,
and deal with wide receiver 2s and 3s and 4s.
I thought about it. I might spend decent money on quarterback.
Yeah,
I just don't know what I'll do. I'm such a frugal bastard.
Since I know what their value is, typically, adding $300, put in $300, their price is going to go up, 10, 15 minimum.
Yeah,
and then if they're going 25 plus at that point, you got to be like, is it worth it? Is it worth it? So, it'll be interesting how your draft goes. We're going to do a dynasty depending on if they get this draft figured out and when that draft is.
Yeah.
That'll be fun because that's a whole different draft strategy because
yes,
you want young. Mm-hmm. Devontae Adams, number 1. No.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Eckler, CMC, Devontae Adams, like those guys.
But it depends on what you want to do.
Yeah.
Like if you get those players in a dynasty, do you want to win now? I mean, you get Eckler, CMC, Devontae Adams.
Winning now. Yeah.
You're winning now, probably.
If you get Bijan, you're in fucking set for a while.
Yeah. Skinny's league, your league.
Typical 12-man PPR snake draft.
Keepers, so
with keepers.
It makes it interesting. I did end up keeping who did I keep? Chris Godwin in the 5th.
Calvin Ridley.
And Calvin Ridley in the 17th, which Calvin Ridley is realistically I probably should have kept Eckler with the 12th and then kept Calvin Ridley. But I won a championship last year in that. I won the belt. I'm gonna get my ring draft day, so next podcast I'll be shining that off to everyone. But I have the number 1 overall pick. Or I could have the number 1 overall pick. I'm gonna probably take the number 1 overall pick. I'll rephrase that. I'll probably take
Bijan.
Wow,
what is it? 6 years now you have the number 1 overall pick twice and
Oh yeah. Oh, I like drafting number 1 or number 12. I like the back-to-backs. I always have done pretty decent with that. I'm probably gonna take Bijan. I do have next podcast. It'll be fun to talk about. We will see if I got the player.
Do you think he comes to you? Do you think he falls to you in the second round, though?
The player that I want?
Yeah.
Yes.
You think
The
so?
2-3 turn. I do. I would be very shocked if he didn't. If he didn't.
No, you were shocked last year And then my dad ended up like Deontay Johnson, the pick with
Yeah.
Deontay. You really were like, I'm gonna get Deontay in the third. I'm gonna get him.
Here's
And
the
then my
thing.
dad took him.
I can't tell you. I don't think you would take this player, but I don't want to tell
there's
you.
people that are in our league that
Yeah, I won't say it on the podcast. I might tell you it maybe.
Hey, if I draft before you,
I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you anything. If you're like at the end of the first round, I'll tell you 100%. I'll tell you. But if you're like in the beginning of the first round, you can fuck off. I'm not telling you shit. Because I'm high on this player. I really am high on this player, higher than you probably think. But I've kind of been like, I knew I was going to get Bijan. I knew I would be able to get Bijan.
Yeah.
I like Bijan. It worries me if Arthur Smith fucks me over, though. I'm going to be so mad.
Oh no, taking Drake London, Kyle Pitts.
You will hear every single week. I promise you on this podcast, whoever watches it, you will hear me bitch about Arthur Smith.
Bijan Robinson with a solid 7 fantasy points.
Yeah, 7 fantasy points. He had 10 touches for 75 yards, no passing game, and no touchdowns because Tyler Algier had another 10 touches for
160 yards.
No, 160, 52 yards because he's Tyler Algier.
But he had two touchdowns,
2 rushing touchdowns because they use him at the goal line, and Cordell Patterson has eight receptions for 125 yards. So I will be mad. I will be very mad. Or they start passing it. Kyle Pitts is like the number 1 tight end, and Drake London's like the number 2 wide receiver. I could have kept him too. I'd be sad, but whatever. It is what it is. But
yeah, that'll be fun. And then starting next week, we're gonna be changing the format of the podcast.
We will
for the in-season stuff. It'll be 4 quarters. Make it like an NFL game. College football does halves, but we could actually look at doing halves too, I guess.
We'll see. Yeah.
Just kind of see. Because then you could 4 quarters might make more sense, but each quarter we'll have, we'll try to keep everything about the same amount of time. Yep. Quarter ends, move on to the next topic, even if we're not done. Kind of like what is it, PTI? Mm-hmm. You got to move on. You got those couple seconds to talk, but you got.
We say that we're gonna go way over on every single
thing. Next, we're gonna typically have like in mid-season we'll have like NFL follow-up, but since there's not going to be any games technically until next week, we'll have NFL news, I guess, and then that can replace the follow-up. And then college football started, so we'll be able to discuss that a little bit more. And then we'll do fantasy talk because, again, Marcus and I,
fantasy fanatics,
big fantasy fanatics. People are constantly coming to us. I know this isn't released until Thursday, and a lot of those decisions, maybe we'll have to release some stuff, Tuesday, Wednesday, like shorts and stuff like that, just to, go get these guys on the waiver wire. That might be something that we have to do, but more just fantasy talk over like guys that we think are going to have good breakout weeks, guys who had good fantasy weeks the week before, getting a little bit of sports betting, and then we're going to keep track of that too, to see how we
money
do
we
season.
made.
Yeah, Marcus has never sports bet before.
I have not.
So
this year I am. Don't tell Brooke, but I'm going to sports bet this year.
So we're gonna get into that a little bit. Everybody loves sports betting. Everybody likes that talk. Just gonna see. The best part about it is we're going to be live on a video of these 3 picks for the week are locks, and then none 3 hit, and then I look like a fucking idiot, and then I'm gonna do it again the next week. And the next week and the week after that, and maybe one finally fucking hits. Who knows? But and then we'll see how that goes.
It'll be a lot of football. We'll have college football, NFL football. I mean, we're going to be playing 2 flag football games this year, so we're going to have our freaking share of football this
flag football. We'll talk. Most likely that's going to be talked about at some point. When, I have more touchdowns than Marcus.
Oh, he won't. He won't. I'm an end zone monster, reception monster. You know how it is.
Was it the last episode?
Sure.
The shots?
Yeah.
Was that with the last one?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think we did talk about it. 1.5?
Yeah, with the format.
Yeah, we talked about it. You're drunk, dog.
I'm drunk. Okay.
Yeah.
No. So with the new format,
We did talk about it. We did talk
yeah,
about
with
it.
the failed,
No,
didn't
I don't think
record.
we did, but
It didn't record it.
did it not? No,
No.
we literally just talked about this. Okay, for anyone that did not hear, Skinny during my draft is going to take. Maybe we didn't. I don't. Dude, you're making me question myself
Dude,
now.
so okay, we had a technical failure. For some reason, it said it was recording, but didn't record half of our podcast. So we're trying to go back and do this after drinking.
We've had 6 beers each. This is
So
our
for
7th.
Marcus's podcast, Marcus is saying that since it's a bonus episode and still on the podcast, any beer drank during the draft counts towards the podcast because he's trying to outdrink me. But I said I was thinking about bringing a bottle and doing shots too, with maybe with some of the guest speakers and things like that. And Marcus won't do that. So
I'm strictly beer.
we decided 1.5. Every shot counts for 1.5 beers.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna fucking outduel this man. I'm gonna be ahead like 8 beers by the end of that.
No way.
But yeah, next episode, different format, fantasy talk. Season begins. Yep. Fucking ready. Week 2 of college football that week.
A lot to talk about.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's
gonna be fun.
This new format, this new change. We got we painted the room. We changed the.
It looks good. You see this? Teddy Bridgewater, Modelo Fool.
Whoever the fuck that is.
Adam Thielen.
Yeah. Carson Wentz in a box. It's kind of the light hits it a little. Carson Wentz in the box.
Every single time the Vikings win a game, I'm chugging from that.
Yeah. Yeah. And every time the Vikings lose, I'll chug out of that.
Fair. I hope we lose a lot then.
I think it's fair. I have them going 10-7, so it'll be.
Well, it'll be,
or 11-7, or I don't remember, but
10-7, I think is right.
Yeah, but 10-7. So, but. Thanks for staying tuned. This was a very rough technical difficulty with what happened. But stay tuned for next week as we're going to be doing that. And we're going to be releasing our predictions for the Offensive Player of the Year, MVP, Heisman for college football, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, all that good stuff. But thanks for staying tuned.
Like and subscribe.